Hello everyone, it's MacMate here. Oh wait, never mind, we don't have Mac anymore. We're straight into the pick and ban phase. Thank God we don't have to deal with that guy, Rusty. And we also don't have to wait too much longer for this game. Hey, straight away, I see two very interesting bans right there on the order side of things. Katarina, Yone taken away, and actually for Incurzio, he's going to have to go on to something different this time.
And Azir taken away from the top laner who's been playing and hasn't won a game with it yet, and has often been about 0-4 in regards to that pick. So maybe he's been putting in the hard yards. You know, maybe Winter has suddenly in solo queue traumatized them a little bit with some Azir performances, but nevertheless, this leaves open all of your standard OP picks, right? Hecarim banned by Legacy means the Lilia pick gets more value, as we've pretty much only seen Hecarim as the main response. You've got the Camille taken away from Max, which makes sense. Udyr is just an OP champion. And they've given over, I was going to mention Thresh as well, the option of the Seraphine as a first pick.
Yeah, we didn't actually get to find out, by the way, because Nat forgot to ask the question what ML/MLG would like to be called. But either way, he will be on the Thresh, and we do also get that Lilia locked in, as you've said. Seraphine, I do always get a little bit scared when I see the Seraphine available, and I'm a bit concerned for Legacy as a result of that. The one thing I will say is that based on what we've seen so far, I would probably be preferring to see Seraphine in support role as opposed to mid or AD carry, or I suppose in that instance, bot lane. But yeah, I mean, it just seems like it doesn't get as much value out of the mid lane or the carry roles because you're just not bringing as much maybe damage to the table, which traditionally is what's required from those roles.
I'm wondering if that is going to be AD Tristana, by which I mean bot lane, sorry. Yeah. It's always going to be AD. We've already spoken towards Chungy and his champion pool and preferences. He's played only Twisted Fate and Galio, so this is a complete 180 if it's going to be flexed towards mid lane. The response is a Lucian, who again, you can see in the AD carry position. I know Styled has played it in the past, but also could be a mid laner, depending on how Order choose to flex this. Now, Legacy are on the red side, so to me, this was a clear strategy to say, we'll match your flex, we'll see how you go, and we'll be able to counter that Tristana lane wherever it chooses to be.
Yeah, I mean, the Lucian to me sort of screams mid lane. I feel like it's very much an Incurzio champion, not at all knowing his champion pool personally, but just based on the kind of champions that he likes to play and the playstyle that he has, I feel like Lucian does fit into that, right? He's the kind of champion that wants to win mid lane, wants to fight a lot, wants to be aggressive. And we also haven't really been seeing it very much in the ADC role, so I have to imagine that's going to be going into mid. Obviously, these next couple of picks are going to give us a bit of a better idea. And the fact that Order has banned away Kai'Sa as well probably means that they're assuming the same as well. So Aphelios, the hover, in fact, the lock for Legacy, and now we are going to pretty much get confirmation that that is going to be a Lucio in mid.
Yeah, you're not wrong. That was the expectation was, of course, that we would be seeing the Lucian mid, just knowing Incurzio. And Aphelios Thresh, something we've highlighted as well, just a very good combination in that bottom lane. Realistically, we're waiting to see where the Tristana will end up. While primarily mid, we have seen in recent weeks, it's been moving down the rift more to the bot lane role. With the Seraphine as well, there is some kill threat there around level 2. You hit the double E as Seraphine knocks someone down. Tristana jumps on their head, and you can run Ignite as Seraphine suddenly in that lane and have legitimate kill threat. As Order have been listening to the broadcast, I think that's fair to say.
Yep, perhaps.
They've really been listening to the broadcast.
Bit of an Ahri hover as well, so perhaps a throw out there. But actually, they've gone and locked in the Ahri as well, so it's going to be the Tristana down in the bot lane. So far, the hover is on exhaust for beats. I guess we can keep an eye on that one, but maybe that'll change as we do go through the rest of this phase. What's the top laner going to be, though, for Legacy? That's going to be the big question here up against the Renekton.
Has played things like Shen in the past, which wouldn't be horrible here, but I would like an Engage. The weird thing is, they banned a lot of engaged tanky champions, so they are playing more towards pick. And I think being able to play the Sylas successfully in a matchup will be useful. Right now, however, I think it might be worth pointing out that it could be Lucian top into the Renekton instead.
Yeah, we were sort of operating under the assumption that it would be Lucian mid, but I suppose it is still a flex that can go up into the top lane. What does that do for the team composition, though, of Legacy? In a way, it does feel like there isn't really a whole lot of frontline there for the Aphelios with this kind of a team comp.
It seems like a prepared thing for me, just into Ari. You know, Chungi is actually the OG Ari player. It has been spoken towards before. Every time I see Ari, I would suffer at the hands of it always winning. Chungi was the person actually dealing those blows. So, you know, Kyosei does come along as the Ari god. Chungi was always there first, but it doesn't hard win lane, right? It simply exists and pushes, gets the Everfrost and plays for picks. Incursio playing Silas will then survive the lane, you would assume, have the Ari ultimate for himself, so there's no way you die to ganks, right? Because you both just have 4 dashes to safety. Silas gets 5 with a flash, so he can be everywhere on the Rift.
Yeah, maybe that's going to be offering us some pretty interesting plays. We've liked to see him go aggressive in some instances, and I dare say there is a possibility we'll get Incursio just trying to go for that 1v1. Whether it is maybe even before level 6 or not, either way, just looking at the team compositions on face value, I kind of get a better feeling from what I'm getting here from Order. I think they've got pick potential. I think they've got decent team fighting presence as well. And just across the board, their lanes are looking fairly safe. Whereas when you look on the other side of things, particularly with that Lucian top lane, you almost think, okay, Winterer needs to get some work done in that top lane. If he goes even or in fact loses that lane, then it doesn't really justify the pick. So there's a bit of a question mark in my mind over that, especially given what we've seen from the top lane from Legacy so far. The Azir picks haven't necessarily worked out. So I'm a little bit loath to say I'm a huge fan of the off-meta selection here, but I'm prepared to be proven wrong.
There is no pure weak side in this draft for Legacy, right? You've got the Lucian top lane into a Renekton, has to be played towards by the Lilia, but you've got a Philios Thresh bot lane, which can be safe with lanterns, but does still require you to have that early vision of your opponents to get the lantern to safety, or ML is just not playing the lane. So a big job for Sybil and mid-priority for Incursio to really influence this game.
All right, well, we've got a quick pause here. Probably a good time for us to have an interview, Rusty. Maybe one that you can get involved in as well while we do have this online. I think we've got series available to have a bit of a chit-chat to. Hopefully, you're feeling pretty comfortable with the draft that you've been able to get through here, but maybe you can alleviate some of the questions that we might have had. Obviously, the first one being Lucian in the top lane. Was this a prepared strategy, or was that intended to go to mid and ended up being a flex pick to go up into top? What's the TLDR about that pick?
Well, obviously now that's shown, I can safely say that when we're picking Lucian, it's with the intention of flexing it. So we don't have a set position for it. It's a champion that Dongy likes to play. Winter likes to play, and he's really, really good on it as well. So I'm very confident in his ability to perform on the champion.
Awesome.
I'll just quickly jump in here as well, just to get a question, given that we have time. Talk to me about the mood in the camp. I know that's a generic question, but you are without a win just yet, and you are still playing these, you know, comfortable, flexible champions. Like, it's clear to me that every loss is still hurting you guys. So can you just talk me through a little bit of what it's like over at Legacy between weeks? Yeah,
100%. I think that for the most part, when we had really, really strong performances against the 2 top teams, and then we had to sub out due to Incursio being unable to attend last week, we had some momentum building in that lapse, and that was really, really unfortunate. So I think that everybody is hopeful, and we can see like our ceilings where we have them. I think it's a matter of performing consistently and also closing out the games. But ultimately, I think that people are optimistic that given a couple weeks, you know, leading into Split 2 even, that will be a very strong contender.
Yeah, I mean, I think you guys have had some instances where you've been able to get that lead going, and it's looked like Legacy might be a team that might be able to challenge even the top teams like Pentanet. Final question then for today before we do let you go. What's looking like the win condition for your roster here? How are you feeling about the draft, and what are you expecting to see going up against Order today?
Well, the win condition for this game, for the most part, is all going to be on the way that Sybil is going to play his early game, because I believe Rusty mentioned as well, it's on him to get a lot of work done. He needs to be able to create mid-prio and move with Silas to the side lanes that are going to be inevitably quite strong. The benefit of having these 2 really strong side lanes is that Lilia gets to invade as much as he'd like, and that's really, really true as well for the Skarner matchup. So yeah, there's a lot of pressure on Sybil, but yeah, I believe he can definitely get it done.
All right, we'll be definitely keeping an eye on Sybil and then side lanes as well. Thank you very much for the interview. Really appreciate your time, and hopefully we'll get to chat with one of your boys at the end of the game.
100%.
All right. Rusty, a little bit going on in the early game there. Unfortunate that we have to, you know, miss it. But
Almost.
I know.
Because the coach can't see what we're seeing. Now, Sybil can invade because he has priority in his side lanes. While that may be true, it happens at level 1 at the red buff. They don't get the red. That's a good hook, though.
Oh, it is a very good hook. A lot of damage onto Puma. No kill threat, though, because Order are stuck underneath the tower, and it was a nice route from Beats as well. The Guardian proc does help a lot in lane when you're playing Seraphine, so that's definitely something you want to be taking, especially against Thresh. But either way, does give you early prio. Oh, that's another great one from Amelg. Again, probably not quite enough here to get the kill, but man, you do not want to be Puma right now.
Yeah, before we look at this bottom lane any further, ML's popping off, so credit where it's due, but we got the red buff secured by Vengeance, we got the First Blood secured by Chungi, and when we actually take stock of the summoner spells that we used, there was a boatload of flashes, 3 on the side of Legacy, and 2, I believe, on the side of Order, with some, of course, secondary summoner spells used in there as well, teleports, heals, and exhausts. This is pretty deadly for the side of Legacy to be dealing with a Skarner that starts with a level lead. It can now get a lot of freedom to move around the rift and make plays happen. And to the point of series, again, unfortunately timed for him, is if Sybil has no control over a Skarner because he got the advantage perhaps in the jungle, or Ahri has the advantage from the First Blood, then he can't play to the side lanes or has to pick 1 instead of 2. So Order open up a win condition from just level 1.
Well, Vengeance already up to level 4 and tracking along quite nicely. So that's good news for Order. But up in the top side of the map, you see Winterer has a little bit more control of that lane than Maximize does. Certainly down in the bot side of the map, for Puma and Beats having to reset so early, you lose so much as a bot lane by having to do that, that now they're in a really rough spot as well. Lane's going to be pushing back in their direction. ML has the freedom to just go roaming a little bit, see what's happening around the place. Styled is feeling quite confident and comfortable. And there's a pretty substantial CS lead. It doesn't show on the scoreboard, but considering Styled still has this whole wave to farm, it's going to start to build up a little bit.
Yeah, right now the only gap is realistically in jungle. You can see some differences, of course, reflected in gold. Is he human?
This guy. He has got some pretty nutty hooks so far tonight. Long extended trade, though, might end up actually favoring the bot lane of Order a little bit more so, with the Guardian proc helping out.
I mean, he's just doing it for all the Thresh mains out there right now. It hasn't resulted in a kill yet, but geez, you want to talk about mental battles. You're a support player as well, Elfish. Thresh hits the first 3 hooks in a row on you, you're scared.
I really hate the Seraphine into Thresh matchup as well, because it does feel like if you make a pretty egregious mistake early on in the game, your game can be over, and you just get zoned so hard in that lane if the Thresh is hitting those hooks. But on the same token, it can turn the other way if the hooks aren't quite connecting. In this instance, obviously, we're seeing the former rather than the latter. But level 4, a little bit of an advantage here for Legacy in the bot lane, and definitely starting to try and flex their muscles.
This is something that you'll actually hear from Juves pretty actively as well, and I believe we all share the opinion. But on hook champions, you have to hit your hooks if you want to be relevant, you know?
Yeah.
You can't afford to play a hook champion and miss them, especially with aftershock-based champions like Nautilus. Thresh with a little bit more leeway, of course, being able to have the Flay and the Lantern. A little bit less all-in than the others, but still a similar vein. And to your point on that bot lane matchup, because there was no heal and exhaust for Beats and Puma, it was doomed if a single hook connected. So laning advantage down there. Credit to ML for just being able to hit those spells. And Order elsewhere, still looking good.
Well, I was wondering if Virgins was close to 6. Seems like it doesn't matter. Maximize is going to go hard. Winterer does try to keep himself alive. How is he still alive? Oh, never mind, because Chungi has arrived and Sybil is going to do his best to try and chase Vengeance down, but he just won't be able to catch him. Chungi with a fantastically timed roam, and Incursio left farming the mid lane and watching from the sidelines.
Now, Incursio does have teleport, so there was a world where he chooses to teleport to that skirmish. He would have had to be very early, and I mean, ultimately Winterer did as much work as he could to survive, so it's a bit of a miss if you ask me. And I'd have to watch the VOD to confirm that, but I feel like he could have teleported, but he's coming bottom instead.
He's going to try and make something happen on the other side of the map. Vengeance, though, I think is reading this play well. He's headed in that direction. Seraphine ult stolen, but missed, and Incursio, well, he will escape with his life after Maximize teleports down. Vengeance just a little bit too slow on that Skarner still to arrive in time. And it works out for Legacy. Kill for Incursio, a decent start in the mid lane, but here's the replay for you, Rusty.
Yeah, we'll see what happens again in top lane. It was a flash stun from Maximize and, you know, flash follow-up there from Vengeance. Now, Winter managing to live as long as he does basically gives the opportunity of a trade back. So when you look at this, like, just put yourself in the mind of Incursio for a second. You think Lucian's just dead. You know, had 10% HP in half a second, but survives that extra second, you'd be kicking yourself for not teleporting. But we credit the proactivity of him to go bot side. He was level 7 to a level 4 Seraphine. So they picked the correct target, they dive successfully, and they're able to trade back.
Fancy footwork on the Rift Herald here from Sybil. Gonna drag it out of the pit and try to get that one rolling along nicely. It would be a nice pickup for Legacy at this point in the game. Incursio needs to be a bit careful here, but does have the presence of ML as well if push comes to shove. Does look like that Rift Herald is going to be rather uncontested.
Yeah, just looks like he's going to be able to have the free priority of top lane, even though the death was there. Maximize not going to be able to do too much against the Lucian just yet. No reinforcements really coming, even though Chungi's doing a lot of work. You can see that freedom from ML to go towards mid lane does skew that influence. As we're coming back top, actually.
Well, ML doesn't, sorry, Winter, I should say, doesn't have the flash. Vengeance is going to have the easiest gank of his life. Does not even need to invest the ultimate.
Yeah, that's just deadly. The fact that he doesn't use the ultimate means that the game is basically decided in top lane for Winterer until that flash is back. Yeah. You can't afford to pay your taxes this early as a 0-2 Lucian, so you just become a hotspot for Scorpions to come up there and just pick you apart, and now that's a huge Renekton. Now it's also, remember, it's a 2-0 mid lane Ahri, so while Incursio did fine, it's not like he's got a lead in mid lane from it. Oh, God.
Here we go again. Vengeance this time is going to invest the ultimate, and I think that might be Incursio this time deciding to come up to the top lane. What a difference it does seem to make, but the burn cops onto Winterer. A kill. Either way, it is going to be a little bit of revenge for Incursio this time, and a very nice little stun from him. Chungi might not quite be able to trade down onto Sybil. Wow, that teleport makes a big difference.
Yeah, I mean, that teleport was fantastic and was what was needed. They were choosing to dive Winterer. Basically what we were saying, right? He's 0-2, Skarner didn't use ult. Why would you not stay, Hex Flash the wall and take him down? Unfortunately for Order, they mistimed their CC layering and do 2 of them at the exact same time. There's 3 stuns between them all. Another hook hits.
Doesn't result in too much here for Legacy. Order just going to decide that Dragon is not a bad decision right here. Seeing some pings though from Order, and a contest might be on the cards. They won't get there in time to try for the steal, but potentially some kills on offer. The bot lane's going at it. Who gets there first? Sybil arrives at a pretty good time, and Winterer is also deciding to get in the mix. Now Sybil doesn't have the ultimate available anymore, so Puma should be pretty safe there.
Puma
he's still hanging around.
Oh, he's going to be all right there.
Yeah, Tristan is one of those champions where if you hit the W timing correctly, it's very hard to get punished for being in a bad position just because of the way it works. Unless you're interrupted mid-jump.
Yeah.
If you use it before it actually connects and you're sort of starting the jump, it's kind of a weird animation cancel. You can usually get out. Not in that instance, of course, but it does make you feel a bit more confident.
It has maybe the most absurd priority. Oh God, Incursio's top. He's got him.
I'm sure this is going to work out too kindly for Maximize. Incursio deciding he wants to show off the flashy footwork again. 4-1-0. And we talked about this being an important factor for Legacy, didn't we?
Yeah.
If they can get ahead early, if they can get Incursio into the game, they might be able to find a win condition.
Exactly. And it's also about enabling your jungler. Incursio is 4-1, which means that Sybil on this Lilia gets a lot more freedom to move. Just because you would assume at all times there will be some kind of priority forced in mid lane. We'll see again what happens in this top lane skirmish. Both of them Renekton ulting, doing AoE damage, but Maximize was dead before he even got a chance to react here. It's just a really fed Sylas running around the Rift. We'll just be able to lock him down at the end with Flash there just before the chains timed out. And again, we've got mid priority for Legacy. That's the most important piece of information because those strong side lanes now get a chance to actually work. Legacy get a chance to actually play their composition out.
Well, here comes Incursio again. This time, not as scary for the Order bot lane. But he has got the Everfrost available, and that's a very nice item, I'd say, for Incursio to be picking up here, because the one thing that you don't want against a Sylas is to be stuck next to him. And so that's just an added layer of CC that he can chain.
Waiting for the Everfrost as well from Chungi, presumably, on this Ahri. One thing that I did want to mention, because I still am not a fan of Ahri in any situation, just as a personal preference. I think Everfrost does enable Ahri to be a bit stronger than otherwise. You can now just kind of press Q on a wave and Everfrost it, and it will die, right? Ranged minions 100% die from that combo. And it's a super low cooldown ability, the Everfrost active. Yep. So that does actually change a lot of the state of mid lane.
Look at the bot lane. It'll be layered into a stun from Aphelios, but they're under the tower, luckily. The Lantern saves it styled, and he's able to get the ultimate across to put a bit more damage in. This sets things up nicely for Incursio, who's rooted and won't actually be able to follow up, but this is not where you want to be as a bot lane. Beats and Puma hiding under the turret, praying desperately someone will come to save them. Teleport forced from Maximize. By the way, did get the 1v1 against Winterer, I think up in the top lane, maybe got the help from Vengeance, didn't catch it, but Winterer is dead.
Yeah.
And that's given a little bit of an advantage actually over to Order from that passage of play.
Had to be the Skarner just because the ultimate was on cooldown. Winterer just trying to defend the turret by ulting the wave. What are you going to do when the duo comes for you? Not a lot. Again, not going to be able to pay taxes. Is so far behind 1 and 4. Has a Gale Force, but it's a Prowler's Claw Renekton. He's going to catch you. It's a Chem Tank Skarner. He's going to catch you. This is one of those unfortunate games for Winterer where you just accept reality, and the reality is you are irrelevant if they want you to be.
Yeah, and you now need to just do your best to make getting carried as easy as possible. So at least try to have some presence on the map, be there, be pesky, pushing waves in, doing that kind of thing. But as far as the damage is concerned, as far as the hard carry potential from a Lucian top is concerned, I mean, it's just not happening this game for obvious reasons. So Winter is just going to have to do his best. Again, more presence into the top lane, though, from Order. And this time they've even sent Beats up there. Vengeance to Hex Flash the wall. Doesn't have anything to catch Winterer in this particular instance. But his life is a living hell up there right now.
Absolutely, and it doesn't get too much better for a little while. Maybe when towers drop and lanes start to open up a little bit more, he'll find more freedom. But that doesn't necessarily mean he'll find more usefulness in assisting the rest of his squad. If we look elsewhere on the map, though, we've acknowledged that Winterer is just having it rough and will continue to be targeted. The presence does give a Rift Herald basically for free. Sybil's acknowledged this and will be going to the bottom side of the map where he has strengths. They've got a very strong Aphelios, and that's even in comparison to Puma, who, while he hasn't died, is 40 CS down, because ML's just an absolute monster this game, and has really kept Puma down.
Yeah, full control of the bot side of the map for Legacy, and again, it looks like they want to be going for a dive. ML, if he can hit the hook, maybe it doesn't matter. Everfrost is good enough, and this time, the jump from Tristana, a little bit too little too late. Another freebie for Mr. Incursio, 5-1 and 0, really stacking on the kill. There's the Axe Flash indeed, you spoke about it, but that's not gone well for Vengeance at all. Oh my word. Stuck under tower, and that's the problem when you're up against an AD carry that can actually root you. Feels a little bit unfair sometimes, but that's 200 years of experience for you.
Yeah, Style just sitting there with the purple cannon able to take him down. Chungi's going to do his best to clear this wave. If that pick was successful for Order, there was a Herald being able to be summoned in mid lane straight away, right? That's mid broken. But it gets turned around instantly here from the side of Legacy. Confident gameplay coming out of them so far. And they are starting to really put themselves in the driver's seat to command the entire map.
Yeah, Juves might be feeling pretty confident about his prediction at the moment. That said, I don't know how confident you can feel if you've predicted Legacy and they've started to get ahead because, well, how many times have we seen that this season? And it hasn't eventuated into a win so far.
All facts. Definitely not the most reliable team so far, of course, because they do not have that victory. But this is one of those games, you know, like I do feel a little bit more confident in what they've picked for themselves. My concern, I think it's once we actually start getting those fights for objectives, not trades, that I think the risk really opens up for them. Lots of
looking for some more cheeky death sentences. Won't get it.
Always worth a look. The second charge shouldn't go off. I think Order have to play for the pick still. It works well with, like, again, they've got your Prowler's Claw and your Renekton, and you've got a lot of distance that you can close. Vengeance, when he has the flash, probably won't be inting under turret in the same circumstances. That's all going to be available as well. So my eyes are set firmly on the next objective, and it could be that they don't choose to fight for it because it's just a Cloud Drake. But when they choose to fight, the game will be decided more around that.
Slon said he wins the race at the moment for Order. Just want to be ensuring that they don't lose too many more kills to Incursio. Starting to become a bit of a monster. The same can be said with Styled as well, having that CS lead, having now got himself a kill. He's got the Kraken Slayer online. Starting to build towards 2 items, and I think once you get to 2 items on Aphelios, that's where he really starts to unlock.
Yeah, I think Hurricane Spike kind of unlocks the other half of your weapons, in a sense. Your Kraken Slayer means that you're going to be nuts with your red weapon, right? You'll be doing a lot of damage with the white shurikens that you'll have there as well, but once you get Hurricane, you know, your snipes now hit multiple people. Your Gravitum cannon as well will be hitting 3 people that you can root in 1 auto, so it opens up the game for you significantly. As Incursio wants to have a crack at Chungy, but isn't Everfrost wonderful?
Yeah, good item. I used to play a little bit of Everfrost Shaco support. I don't know what your thoughts on that are, Rusty.
I think Everfrost is OP, regardless of champions, so not bad.
Yeah.
I'll give you that one.
Hopefully we'll get to see that a little bit in you know, LCO. If anyone's interested, maybe I'll get a Shaco tattoo if someone pulls out the Shaco support.
Is that confirmation?
Oh, look, I don't know if I'll go that far. I've not got any tattoos. It would be a bit of a stretch for me. I will say that, but we'll consider it. Let's say that much. We'll consider it. Chungy's just going to pick himself up the blue buff and move his way to the rest of the team. A couple of resets coming through from Legacy here, so maybe some time for agency on the Order side of things. Clear out some of that vision, get some control in the river.
All happening topside as well. Note that Dragon being up in 30 seconds, but both teams playing towards topside with a lot of their vision does kind of demonstrate the game state. Priority going towards this Drake may just be an added bonus, may just be an excuse for a fight for these guys as well. With the 2 item spikes coming across, we have to take a quick stock of the taxes being paid here by Legacy. There is only 2 QSSs on the team, but there is a zone use on Incursio. He also has the W, so they need to kill him quick. My eyes are set firmly on Styled more than anyone else. He's built Cleanse, or chose Cleanse rather as a summoner spell, so QSS always feels awkward, right, for doubling down on those anti-CC items and abilities, but it's a Skarner, so you have to.
Yep, pretty much. See what ML can do here to start this fight. He's looking for a death sentence. You can tell he's kind of thirsty, clearing out some of that vision. It will allow Order to push the mid-wave in, but in doing so, Order will allow Legacy to take a free dragon. It was a Cloud Dragon, so not a huge concern for Order. And if they can trade it for the turret, they might be happy with that.
Ooh.
Here comes the Seraphine ulti. Sybil dodging it with the Zhonya, and now a very nice death sentence onto Chungy, but not followed up upon, and oh my word, Incursio just got blasted out of the server. And all of a sudden, Order not looking too shabby now.
Yeah, looking fantastic after that one. That's the Skarner getting the picks that you're after as well. Finding the target, the priority target, no doubt, giving 900 gold over as well. So you'll be chuffed about that one if you are Order. Not only do you get some pressure down. Now, the sacrifice was, of course, the Cloud Drake, but like mentioned, its priority is quite low. It's the second Drake for both teams if they were to go for that one, so more than happy to give one away. And if the price of the Dragon was 900 gold, it makes you wonder if Legacy even consider that worth it.
Probably not. Not at this point. That's a fair swing in the tempo for Order. Who actually picked up that kill, by the way? Did you see?
I didn't catch it.
Because that would be pretty important. Maybe we can get a replay through. I'm not sure.
I believe it would be Vengeance or Maximize. I know Chungi had 3 kills.
Yeah.
So
would have liked to have seen it really over onto Puma, wouldn't we? Because he's just been farming away, trying to get to that late game Tristana situation. But that kill certainly would have helped. Obviously didn't. Still on the 0 kills.
I feel like we haven't seen a Tristana do well in lane today. Gunkrab played it, and even though they won the game, I believe they also were down 40-odd CS in laning phase. I've seen this in previous days as well of the LCO, where the Tristana does just seem to fall behind in laning phase. I mean, it goes without saying, of course, more range every level you get, Tristana scales incredibly well. But we have to see one start strong, where Trist is a very good level 2 champion that can snowball.
Well, still 3 minutes for that Dragon to come online. It's going to mean Legacy don't really have a whole lot to take a look at just yet. And that's more time for Order to start to feel a bit more comfortable. Got this Seraphine chunking through some items. Tristana looking for them as well. What's ML going to do here? Nothing. Just backing away. Waves are starting to push in the side lane, so Order need to make something happen. Styled gets away okay. That's a bad feeling as a Seraphine.
Nah, he didn't press tab. It was a QSS picked up by Styled on his last reset. It was, we're still going.
They might have overcommitted a little bit here. Legacy, they felt confident. Styled does just get out once again. Legacy are doing a great job of toying with the emotions of Order, and this is the worst position you could really be in as Order. You feel like you needed that pick. They forced it. They tried to, but they didn't get it. And now Incursio has arrived. Sleep only going to go on to Renekton, and there's not really that much follow-up for Sybil here. It's a very extended fight that has amounted into a grand total of absolutely nothing.
Nothing, yeah. I mean, Legacy get full priority in the river. I don't think they would consider Baron. That would be maybe the biggest throw of all time. No one dying is interesting. Also, towards the back half of that one, Chungi could have probably thrown his charm at Sybil while he was in stasis instead of looking for the Incursios.
This could be bad for Beats. ML goes for the hook first. Surely you're going for the flay there.
He's in his own head now. They got the turret anyway, so overall, Legacy are winning with the tower. And Vengeance going to get pushed away, but yeah, I reckon they could have had a kill there.
Yeah, just like the way that Legacy is kind of pushing in these side lanes. Not liking what I'm seeing right now. ML a bit too over-eager. They do get the teleport out of Maximize, sort of anticipating a bit more of a fight there, but overall, this could result in a big swing.
They're going to force the fight their own way here, Order. They're going to be able to kick off this Baron. They haven't placed a control ward in the pit, so Legacy could force more vision. Sybil on a flank by himself has flash, so they can engage the fight through this Lilia.
Well, there's orb connecting onto Beats. Not going to result in the lullaby yet from Sybil. Just waiting patiently. Culling to do a lot of damage. Style getting some stuns on the players in the pit as well. But now is the go signal for Order as the Impale locks Incursio down. First kill of the fight, though, does go the way of Legacy, and the second as well. Not only that, but they've also denied the Baron attempt.
They're going to do it.
Again, a big swim back for Legacy.
If Order stick around for this one, look at the health bars of Legacy. This is a dangerous game. Incursio basically dead to the Baron itself. Teleports are going to come in here as well. They are playing with fire to force this Baron, but Styled can do enough.
Which way is it going to go? That's the real question. Puma does get himself an assist. Still searching for those ever-important kills. The Baron does go the way of a Legacy, and it's time to run, at least according to Order, unless it's kind of one of those situations where you call the ambulance, but not for me. They turn around, get themselves a kill, do deny a couple of the Barons away from Legacy, but overall, have to say, messy passage of play, but Legacy come out the better for it.
Yeah, I mean, it was a while back and forth, a lot of picks happening left, right, and center. You know, you've got a 6-1 Ari on the other side to contend with as you start to push in your vision, but they got the Baron. Yes, they lost it on 2 people. It was the jungler and the support, but they've got it on their solo laners and they've got it on their AD carry. So ultimately, they have Baron in all 3 lanes. They will lose the Cloud Drake here, so there's no Soul for quite some time still. So it is just going to be a pure Baron push if they choose to do it. And it looks like they're going to put all their focus to where their vision was set up before, which is the top lane in a turret.
Legacy going to look to push that mid wave in now as well. Start to put some pressure on inner towers with the Baron. Top wave shoving as well as Incursio down in the bot lane. So again, Legacy looking to spread out across the map. Seen this a couple of times. And Order have a couple of times really tried to force a fight, tried to force the 5v3 in this 1-3-1 split from Legacy. Hasn't really worked out too well, but this time they've gone down to the bot lane. Incursio is going to get out of there okay.
What would you say is the odds of Legacy winning this game now? Like, did you say it's a 70% chance?
It feels like a 50-50 to me.
Yeah. That's legitimately what I was going to say. I was expecting you to be like, oh, probably 70, but it still feels like a flip, you know? Like, it still feels like a coin flip determines who wins this one. And I understand fully that we're seeing a team without a win in the LCO try and force their way into a win, and they have had some moments of brilliance for sure, but it's still unpolished to the point where they can get picked.
Vengeance has gotten on top of a couple, but doesn't actually have the Impale available there. And so now, looks a little bit silly. The culling available. Winter is throwing that right into the Skarner, and all of a sudden, Legacy maybe have gone from 50% to about 80%.
Yeah, I mean, they're threatening to go for the inhibitor here. Now, they don't have a minion wave just yet. They're about 10 seconds away from that wave crashing. And so some time purchased here on those death timers, but with 20 seconds left on them, it will be a tower at the minimum. Definitely looking at a threatening of an inhibitor. Legacy have chosen, however, to put people in side lanes while pushing this. So there are risks in what they're doing, but so far, so good.
Yeah, no real commitment from Order to try and defend that mid inhibitor. They're happy to let that one go. And so Legacy gets to have their cake and eat it. They get the inhibitor, they force the side lanes in. Now they'll get themselves a pretty nice reset. Be able to go back and buy a bunch of items and start to look to put pressure back onto Order.
Jungi picks up the Horizon Focus as well, I believe it is, as his second item. So it does a lot of damage with those fadeaways. Also revealing targets, I believe, from a certain distance and increasing the damage amped to them. Quite a nice little pickup there for him. Doesn't have an item slot for control wards though, and if we're going to go down this list of things that trigger me the most, Elfish, this is number 1. You want to try and have as many control wards as possible on all of your resets, and right now there is a 7-stack Dark Seal, which is value, and that's a conflicting feeling on do I sell that or not. I wouldn't, because he needs to be dealing damage. However, Puma could definitely consider removing that Doran's Blade for some control wards for the team.
Yeah, most definitely.
As
Doran's
good style.
this late in the game, not quite as impactful. But you do get the sense that Legacy have quite strong vision control as it is. So maybe it's a calculated decision. They think, well, don't worry too much about it. Maybe Sybil's already got a control ward down. The one at the blue buff could be. So he thought, never mind. We'll take it. We'll be a bit greedy on this reset. Does happen to the best of us.
See, I like that you're being kind to them, but
I'm a nice guy, Russ.
Incursio and Styled could 100% have control wards instead of their Doran's items.
Look, I'm here to make friends, not enemies. I'm not as established as you are just yet, but give me another couple years, and I might be on the same vein of thought as you.
We all pick a hill to die on eventually, mate. You'll find yours.
Yeah, I will, I'm sure. Either way, Legacy continue to put that pressure on all 3 of the lanes. I mean, that's one of the benefits of this composition for Legacy. And here's another one. Incursio can just get so aggressive with that Everfrost. Chungi does escape, is forced to use the ultimate.
That's some anime battles there from them both, isn't it?
Definitely. It's the side lane pressure, though. You know, you've got the Lucian, generally pretty safe in the side lane. Same for the Silas. And then you have the other three just pushing down the mid wave, and Order have to split their attentions across the entire map.
Yeah, and Legacy have paid their taxes. The AK gold lead they had was spent well into the QSS. There's only Thresh remaining, who doesn't have a slot for it just yet, though he has the stopwatch. So Vengeance now has a pretty difficult task in this game, and the last time we saw him try and be aggressive and make a play, he flashed into a Thresh hook without his ultimate available. There's a bit of a head scratcher, unfortunately, for the jungler of Order. And we haven't really seen anything from Maximize yet at all. The build that he's gone for, Prowler's Claw, Blade of the Roman King, Sterax, is extremely powerful in dueling and 1v1 threats. Can still teamfight just because he's Renekton. But I can't say I've felt any kind of impact in teamfights from him yet.
I suppose he feels like he does need to match one of those side lanes, so could be part of the reason why he's gone for that build.
Winter is
ML hanging around.
Well.
I mean, again, you just look at it. Side lane pressure. Winter down in the bot lane. If this doesn't go through for Order, they pretty much lose the game. So we'll see how this one pans out. Legacy looking for a very big steal, or potentially just a delay and a free inhibitor. Best of both worlds. Unfortunately, Sybil has been chunked down incredibly low. So actually getting this steal could be a bit scary. Sonya's is a factor. We're looking at the bot lane right now. There's a fight going on at Baron, who got it. Blue team, which is Order. It's going to enhance the recalls if they can get them going. He's been put to sleep. Winterart doesn't quite get a free kill, has a stopwatch available, does maximize, but the reset there for Puma. Incursio joining him. What is going on right now? 1 kill, 2 kills, by the way. Chungi and Beats are dead. That's the situation for Order, and all 5 Legacy players alive. So I'm not sure that the Baron is going to be enough to save them here, or it's been a desperate fight for them. But I think Legacy might finally be on the precipice of actually getting their first win in the LCO as they knock down the turret. A dive in from Maximize might just keep it alive, but for how long? Incursio can't quite catch Puma, but Sybil will, and that will be that, ladies and gentlemen. Legacy have finally found their victory in LCO. They are now 1-5, and they've handed Order their 3rd defeat. That was certainly a sight to behold. I'm really not sure what to say about that game, Rusty. I'm sure you've got a lot to say.
I mean, Order chose to throw the gauntlet, right? They said that this Baron will basically determine the outcome of who wins this game. They do the Hail Mary style move. The Lucian was already down in bottom lane pushing, right? They already had priority in push of waves down there. So it was a lot easier for Legacy to play that out than it was Order. They made the game significantly harder for themselves, and we didn't get to see on full screen exactly what happened at the Baron. But we can put some pieces together, and that they did get caught in the pit a little bit. There was a Silas with a Seraphine ult, so it's very easy to lock them down. And, enough kills with Baron, unfortunately going the way of Order. Still, Legacy can end the game.
Indeed, indeed. Well, I need a little bit of time to catch my breath here, so we might get Mac in to just have a bit of a conversation with you while things settle down. Mac, I'm sure you enjoyed that game. That was a blinder.
Yeah, that was one of the most odd endings I've seen for a while. Order taking the Baron and then Legacy going, oh, okay, well, we just lost Baron, but we're not going to lose the game. And then just running in and doing what you would expect the team with the Baron to do, because all the lanes were pushed up and they had so much prio after all that time. But yeah, so props to Legacy, finally on the board. And look, Jubes, the only one of us that saw it coming.
Yeah, fair. I mean, we saw the prediction. We all thought that's possible, but none of us believed as much as Juves did. So definitely credit to him for making that work. And, the logic that he gave for that being Incursio diff clearly pays off here. It wasn't mid-diff. It was just Incursio diff, because he was influencing the side lanes and, working as a second jungler for Legacy.
I will say, I mean, I always have had this feeling that Legacy was going to be that team that could cause upsets. It's just that earlier on in the season, I did say after Legacy lost me 2 points on the predictions that I would never predict for them again. And I am sticking to my guns there. But I don't think it was that outlandish of a prediction, to be honest, from Juves. I'm kind of surprised that we've actually all 5 gone the way of Order. Because, as we can see, it's a very real possibility that Legacy can win. And I think they might be worth a shout later on in the season as well against some of the other teams.
Am I right to say that Legacy's team comp, like on paper, looks quite squishy, and they had no right winning a lot of the fights with no real front line there? Was Incursio like supposed to be the front line in this comp?
He's not like, you're right, they're squishy, right? So you're not necessarily meant to be playing front to back League of Legends when your comp is that squishy, right? You want to be trying to play for side lanes, for flanks, and you know the way that Legacy do operate in this game was about getting those side lanes ahead and flanking, because the 3 that they place in mid will never die. So you'll see again, like hooks will hit in these skirmishes, and oftentimes Sybil will be on the opposite side to the rest of his team, or Incursio will, because they're not trying to front to back, and you know that was successful against Order. As Order really just want to hit a Skarner ult as their engage right now, or a Seraphine ult, and it never really worked the way they'd wanted.
Yeah, that was just such a interesting way that the game ended as well. Obviously, you know, you had Winterer just going, all right, boys, you take the reins over towards Baron there, I will end the game. And I thought we'd see a full backdoor. It got slowed for a moment, but then Legacy regroups over in the base, and it all just sort of ended up that way. But, you know, thanks for that little bit of insight, Rusty.
It was kind of the worst of both worlds in a way there for Order, because when you're pinched between those two decisions, you do inevitably have to make one. You have to say, okay, well, we give Baron and we defend our side lane, we reset, we go back to base, or we go all in on the Baron. We need to win that 5v4. They actually didn't end up winning the 5v4, and the side lane was pushing in. So it was a do or die kind of a situation for Order, and in that instance, they died, unfortunately.
Well, someone we need to bring back in is the one, the only Nat T, and she's going to be down on the sidelines with one of the Legacy players. I'm not sure exactly who it is, but I'm sure they are going to be very excited.
I am with the person that I probably have the most pressing question for, that I'm going to open up with. Is it MLG or Melg? We all seem to be a bit split over here on the talent as to how we actually pronounce it.
It's actually pronounced Gleam backwards, as my good friend Hot Shelly mentioned to LS. So yeah, it's pronounced Gleam backwards. Or Amigo.
Oh, wait, so sorry. I did not hear you. The other talent was talking over you in my ears. What is it? How is it pronounced?
It's pronounced
No,
Gleam
I'm not telling him.
backwards.
You have not cleared that up for me at all, but thank you so much for joining me, and
problem.
congratulations on the win. How does it feel, the first one finally? You know, you got one in the first round robin. Surely that gives a more confidence to the team.
Yeah, definitely. It just feels good, man. We had a really rough start to the split, and so this is definitely us showing that we do have what it takes and we can make the playoffs. And yeah, to not underestimate us.
Talk me through the draft a little bit and how you guys were feeling coming out of it.
Draft was pretty good. I don't want to give away too much, but I recently revealed to the coaches that I actually can play Thresh, which they were shocked by. And so I feel like I put up a pretty good performance this game, which I'm glad to have done. But yeah.
Definitely, the performance was absolutely outstanding. With the early game and kind of into the middle of the game as well. I mean, early game you guys felt strong, but not like dominating the game. And then the mid game, it kind of just didn't fall apart, but you just seemed to be a little bit weaker. Can you walk me through it and how you guys were talking and communicating to bring it back to a win?
Well, basically our strategy was to just every 2 minutes tell everyone to calm down and then spam Incursio to buy QSS, which he was not doing for a very long time. But as soon as he bought that, you know, we were good to go.
So what did you do differently this game that you haven't done previously to help you guys with the win? Was it the being calm and just refocusing yourselves?
Yeah, I'd say it's a big part of it. I feel like in our previous games we sort of lose our minds a bit too much and fall back into the solo queue mentality of oh, I pressed this button and kill this guy. But yeah, we just tried to relax and play the best game that we could.
Well, congratulations again. It's so good to see how far you guys have already progressed in just, what, 3 weeks? So congratulations, and we'll see you tomorrow for your last game of round robin 1.
Yep. Cheers. Thank you very much.
Well, that was Nat with Gleam backwards, which is
Yeah,
now...
it did not help me at all. I'm sorry.
So does he want us to call him Milg? Is that Gleam backwards? Milg? My elk? I don't know.
It can't be MLG because you don't
Yeah,
say
definitely can't.
G-Leam.
Jaleem.
You know? Sounds like
I
a
guess
shaving
it
brand.
is a Melg then.
Yes. Well, moving
Yeah.
on from that, we have some very exciting things coming up, including the Play of the Day. And before we bring it up, I just want to ask you guys, what do you think the Play of the Day was, or what would your Play of the Day be? All three of you. We'll start with you, Jordan.
I want to go with that bot lane from Elk, to be honest. I just thought his thresh hooks were insane. It doesn't even have to be just the bot lane. It could be that whole game. He was doing phenomenally. Very nice to see. So, bit of support love. Got to throw that one around to my homie, Backwards Gleam.
There you go. What about you, Rusty?
I would say the Shock Waves from Shock. Probably the MVP of their game. So that would be where I would go. Though it doesn't sound like a it doesn't look like a highlight. That's my only concern. So it probably isn't.
Okay, well, what about you, Nat?
I feel like Rusty just stole mine. I was going to say it has to come from the Direwolves game. I feel like that one felt the most hype at least. And I don't know, the team fights and they were good to watch.
Could give it to Claire. He had a couple of nice Gnar ultis to sort of enable
Definitely.
those shockwaves.
Well,
so there's a potential contender.
I can tell you all that the Play of the Day is ready, and it is the Direwolves, and it is their ace in one of the team fights. So let's take a closer look as to how this one played out. It looks like it is when they were getting Baron, managing to snag it away, and then get the ace off the back of it. So, making their cake and eating it as well.
So it was the Gnar ult and it was the Shockwave. So I would say we're all correct here.
Everyone's a
Yeah,
winner.
not too bad. Yeah, as much of a play that is for Shock, it's definitely there for Claire as well. Seems to be looking pretty comfortable on the Gnar. So love to see it from Direwolves. Always nice when you get a team fighting team like that and they're actually able to execute it, because we've seen it a few times. We've seen the press R button compositions a lot in LCO so far, and sometimes we've been let down. But what you really want at the end of the day, particularly as a viewer, is just to see that massive wombo combo, something to get excited about, and we did get that from Direwolves today. So definitely quite happy with that Play of the Day.
A very good Play of the Day. And look, Nat, I think that's the end of your day as well. So before we say goodbye, would you like to say any final words?
Yeah, I kind of want to briefly say a little bit of a comment on the Legacy game we just saw. Whilst, it seemed that they were coming together and the communication's a little bit more there, I am a little bit afraid it might be a Gravitas situation. The only win that they have on the board was from a similar strategy. They did the split, one of them taking objectives while the other one going for the base. So it seems to be a little bit of a copy-pasta there on how they've won. And so whilst it might give them confidence, I am afraid that it could just become what Gravitas is and not get them another win.
One game wonder, so you say.
Yeah.
Oof. There you go. So on that note, we will say goodbye to Nat, who is now going to have all of Legacy's fans banging at a door saying, "Oh, grab your
Please
pitchforks." And we'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you guys so much.
See ya.
Goodbye. Have a great night, and again, not farewell, etc. All that. See you soon. And something else that we need to have a quick look at is the standings, which are going to look a little bit different to the beginning of the day. We have a clear, undefeated team at the top, and then everyone's got a win now. Legacy finally out of last place with a win. But of course, the main thing you're going to be looking at here is Pentanet 6-0.
Yeah. Big numbers on the board there for Pentanet. Also, kind of keeping an eye on the bottom of the standings. Everyone's sitting at 1 and 5. With that loss for Order as well, it actually gives Direwolves an opportunity to potentially leapfrog them as we go deeper into the season now as well. We sort of thought that Order was quite safe in 4, Direwolves probably pretty safe in 5, but now things are starting to get a little bit interesting towards the middle of the pack and the bottom of the pack.
Yeah, every team has 8 games left, I believe, so there's nothing decided yet in regards to the standings, but definitely starting to see some points of separation now. And Direwolves and Order are the two teams that I'd be looking at here to see how they separate from the middle of the pack, or if that's actually just where they stay through the rest of this split.
Yeah, so I guess we'll see that get a whole lot more volatile as the rest of the round plays out, or the second round of the round robin plays out. And look, that brings us towards the end of the day. So before we get there, we need to have a quick look at what we're going to be watching tomorrow. So let's bring up the schedule and see what games we have in store for you all at home going into tomorrow's games. So Wednesday is a very good day. 6 p.m. we see Chiefs and Direwolves going head-to-head, which is going to be quite interesting. If Direwolves can get that 4th win on the board, that's going to put them up next to Chiefs, tied up with them. So very crucial for Direwolves in the first matchup of the day. 7 p.m. Pantanet and Gravitas. That's going to be a very hard match for Gravitas. Potential for another walkover. 8 p.m. Order and Peace, which could be a banger if Order play well, but if we get the Order we saw today who weren't looking up to scratch, then it could be another easy peasy one for PC.
Game 4
and
banger.
Game 4, absolute banger. Legacy and Mammoth, we're going to see who's the new bottom of the table player. That's going to be interesting, and if it's going to set the tone for Legacy as well. Can they back it up and do it against a team that is not higher up on the table, or are they going to trip over their own feet?
We might get an outright 6th, actually, now that I'm thinking about it as well from that 4th game. So the ladder might actually fully be fleshed out.
That'd be really nice if we could finally do that. But look, before we close the show, I just want to I just want to shout out, rather, all of you from the fans, participants who did manage to send things in today and get your content on stream. So if you guys at home want to get some good content for tomorrow, please at LCO, hashtag LCO, and do exactly as Chaos Josh 89 has done. And we'll have a quick look here. Definitely a huge fan of the LCO, but I'm also a massive fan of Order Army, #1 fan. Really love the org, plus a great bunch of people. This is how I like to enjoy the at LCO, usually the feet up and Jack in hand after work. I don't know who Jack is. Maybe we can get some more clarification on that. But good to know that you do like holding on to Jack. Hopefully it's just, you know, a hug or something.
I'm not commenting after that.
Feel free to not comment.
What?
Yeah, I was hoping Jordan to jump in and, you know, maybe save the segment, but it's okay.
No, that was your segment. That's fine. That's okay. That's all yours.
Every segment's my segment, Jordan, especially the Champ Select, which you did a terrible improvisation of me on.
I thought it was perfect.
It was honestly quite accurate. I was just a little butthurt.
It was on brand. I had the mustache. I had the biceps.
The mustache.
You know, I don't know what else I needed.
It was odd. I think we're going to have to work on your mustache game and also your flex game and also your biceps. But look, that brings us to the end of the day, so we can go to the gym. I'm actually going to the gym now if you want to join me, Jordan.
Yeah, I'm going to go to the gym on the Rift, mate. I'm going to make gains there.
You never make gains. You always whinge to me about how you're D-ranking all the damn time. Anyway, end of the day, any final words before we go into tomorrow? Rusty, start with you because Jordan's annoying me.
Hopefully no one plays a Moo. That's it. That's my only thought.
Oof. All right. And also, that's right, before you say anything, Jordan, because I've had enough here, you said you're going to be getting a tattoo as well, so don't think we didn't hear that one. What was it?
Shaco.
Support.
So if we get a Shaco support
with Everfrost.
With Everfrost, we will be seeing Jordan getting a Shaco tattoo. So if you want to see that, make sure you're a player in LCO and you pick Shaco support with Everfrost. So all you out there, I know you're curious and I know you would love to see Jordan with a Shaco tattoo all down his back because it'd look alpha as anything.
Would look pretty alpha.
Yes.
I reckon.
And
probably the most alpha thing I could think of.
Yeah, of course. Now, being the alpha, do you have any final words or are you just going to leave it at that?
No, I'm happy to leave it at that, Mac. I think I'll be back tomorrow, so I've got enough talking to do in another 24 hours.
All right, good. Well, I'll see you then. Good break for me, good break for you all at home, so you don't have to look at this squished face on your screen. Look, I love you, Jordan. It's all right. But I'll see you tomorrow, and I'll see you all tomorrow as well. Go stay safe, and Wednesday's games are going to be bangers.
Drive in the fight. Happy will decoy out, but that puts Peace out of position. And I think that might have been a runaway W that's connected onto Violet. Unfortunate for Peace, that might just be the game.
Yeah, looking like it, of course. You've got that Mega Gnar. Will he be able to get the ultimate off? Has the flash there. At minimum inhibitor here.
Flash forward from Biopanther as well as the Gnar ultimate, and I think that is going to be the death throws for Peace. It feels like more of a victory lap. It will be traded back. No, maybe it won't. Direwolves, they're not quite being able to confirm these kills just yet. Piglet still surviving. Gun Crab dives in. Finally, things have turned over in the favor of Direwolves. It felt like it should be all survive. but does go down, and Claire again with an R ultimate, comboed with the shock ultimate, the shock wave indeed. Oh dearie me, Gravitas, for a moment I thought there was some hope, but the wombo combo.
Yeah. Still looking good.
I was wondering if Virgins was close to 6. Seems like it doesn't matter. Maximize is going to go hard. Winterer does try to keep himself alive. How is he still alive? Oh, never mind, because Chungi has arrived and Sybil is going to do his best to try and chase Vengeance down, but he just won't be able to catch him. Chungi with a... There's the Axe Flash indeed. You spoke about it, but that's not gone well for Vengeance at all. Oh, my word. Stuck under tower, and that's the problem when you're up against an AD carry that can actually root you. Feels a little bit unfair sometimes, but that's 200 years of experience. Mitch Style getting some stuns on the players in the pit as well, but now is the go signal for Order as the Impale locks Incursio down. First kill of the fight, though, does go the way of Legacy, and the second as well. And so now, looks a little bit silly. The culling available. Winter is throwing that right into the Skarner, and all of a sudden, Legacy maybe have gone from 50% to about 80%.